I thought we might do a really nice body scan tonight, just to get us all into a nice relaxed state. So if you want to, you could be really laying back on your sofa or on the floor, or just be very comfortable. Um, we're going to do a body scan from toes to the top of the head and really, really just relax into it. And if you fall asleep, great. We'll wake you up at the end. So, take this moment, this opportunity to just notice. If your eyes are closed, just notice in your mind's eye your environment. Where are you sitting at this moment? Your eyes are closed. You're familiar with the space. Just what room are you in? What color are the walls? Where are you sitting or lying? What does the chair look like? What the chair that you're sitting in, or the sofa? Notice any sounds both inside the room and outside of the room. If the room that you're in is quiet, no sound, listen to that sound, the sound of no sound. I'm in Manhattan and I can hear traffic outside of a window, siren in the distance. In my living room, I can hear Bodhi, the kitten, I just threw out into the other room, so he's still playing with his spoil. And I can bring myself back to being fully present to my body in this moment. So I can sit without labeling what's happening externally. I can be with whatever sounds are arising and not have to label them. Bring your awareness to your breath, to each in-breath and each out-breath. Don't try to change the way you breathe. You know, when we notice our breath, which is something we're doing all day, breathing in, breathing out, but when we bring our awareness to it, it's often a wanting, particularly when we're meditating, to change it somehow. It's like, oh, I need to breathe more deeply, or I need to breathe more slowly. Just breathe the way you breathe. Your body knows exactly what to do. You don't have to change a thing. So each in-breath is bringing life into the body, filling the lungs, chest, the ribs expanding, the chest rising, diaphragm. Everything doing it's what it's supposed to do. It doesn't need any help from you, just your in-breath. So each in-breath is bringing life into the body, and each out-breath is like a mini death. The last thing we do is exhale. So appreciate each in-breath. And on the exhale, thank you. We're saying thank you for this life. Because at this moment, we don't know if there'll be a next in-breath. Bring your awareness to your toes. Again, bring in your awareness. Oh, that's my toes. And maybe wiggle them around a little bit. Just wiggle your toes. Say hello to your toes. And notice if there's any kind of stress in there, any stiffness. Curl your toes under if you're able to do that. If you have arthritis, maybe that's not going to happen. If you're like me, my big toes are frozen, but my other toes can bend a little bit. So just saying hello to your toes. Bring your awareness to the soles of your feet and to the top of your feet, to the heels, to the ankles. And just notice how your feet are feeling. If you've been walking around all day, they may be aching, kind of a gentle throbbing. Notice the temperature. If you have socks, shoes on, notice what the feet feel like inside the sock. Do they feel constricted? Do you now have the urge to rip your socks off and take your shoes off to free your feet? Right now, my feet are cold. I don't have any socks on. The apartment is not so hot, not so warm yet. So I'm now noticing how cold my feet are. I've been barefoot all day. From your ankles, move on up your leg to your calf muscles. And if your feet are on the ground, lift your feet up, pushing down with your toes so your ankles, your heels come up in the air. Your toes stay on the floor. So you're kind of flexing. Feel your calf muscles. Notice if there's any tension there, anything that needs to be released. And don't hang out too long there, just a couple of 3 times. Raising your heels. Stretch the calf muscles a little bit. Bring your awareness again to your breath, to each in-breath, each out-breath. And on the next in-breath, imagine taking the breath all the way down to the tips of your toes. So imagine the breath going throughout the body, down to the tips of your toes. It's almost like the air, the breath is bringing a lightness to anywhere that you're holding tension, in the calf muscles, in the feet. It's bringing a lightness, a softness. Move on up to your knees. Many of us have mistreated our knees, running, dancing, too much sitting in lotus position. Me in my platform shoes in the 70s, disco dancing, paying for it now. I notice with my knee replacement every once in a while it clicks. And the back of my knees, the tendons are very tight now. I haven't really been stretching as much as I could since COVID. So I'm really paying for the lack of exercise. So I can bring my inhalation, I can bring the air down to my knees. And imagine the air wrapping itself around the inside of my knees, tendons at the back of my knees. I can imagine, I can visualize it lifting my kneecap slightly to bring some air in there. And again, when you bring your awareness to a part of your body, you actually feel it. You don't need to touch it, you can feel it. So take a couple of minutes to continue to, with your in-breath, down to the knees, from the knees down to the tips of your toes. And now from your knees, work your way up through to the quadriceps. These huge muscles, these quads, also can get very tight. And from left leg to right leg, just flex the quadriceps for a moment or two. Left, right, left, right. Notice how that actually feels. One of my favorite things to do is to flex the quadriceps. It just makes me feel solid. Notice if one is stronger than the other. One feels tighter, one raises higher than the other. Just notice the difference. It's not a big deal, it's just a noticing. Bring your awareness to your outer thighs and to your inner thighs. Up to your pelvis, your hip bones. This massive bone. Up to the waist. And on the next in-breath, imagine the breath wrapping around the hips, pelvis, down the sides of the legs, thighs, quadriceps. You'll need 3 or 4 in-breaths to fully release the tensions there. Bring lots of air down there. Now bring your awareness to the tailbone, to your sits bones. Feel the weight of your body pushing down into the chair, onto the sofa or cushion. Just feel the weight of your body pushing down into the sits bones. And feel the chair supporting you. And work your way slowly up your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Taking a breath with each movement, with each vertebrae. So in breath, out breath, next vertebrae. Move on up your spine to the top, to where the skull is sitting. From the base of your tailbone up to the top of the spine. Just slowly take an in-breath and move slowly up the spine. Notice your shoulders. Oftentimes, we're holding our tension in the shoulders, and our shoulders are up around our ears almost. Particularly here in Manhattan or in New York, well, not so much now, we're not outside so much, but we hold our shoulders up around our ears, we get so tense. Allow the shoulders to sag. Don't worry about posture at this point, just allow your shoulders to drop. To be totally relaxed. From your shoulders, move down through your arms to your elbows, to your wrists, to the tips of your fingers and your thumbs, and clench and unclench the fists, moving the fingers, saying hello to the digits. We spend so much time on computers and laptops and iPhone, and now we're all getting these kind of stiff fingers. So move your fingers and your wrists, your hands, just put some movement in there. Circle the hands on the wrist. Just totally give your fingers some playtime. And do the best you can. If you have arthritis, stiff fingers, just do the best you can. But say hello to your fingers. Appreciate all the work they do throughout the day. Everything we do with our hands. You're just saying thank you. See if you can feel your fingernails. It sounds like an odd request, but just see if you can feel your fingernails. Bringing your awareness to that. So interesting that we can actually feel our fingernails. And again, bring your awareness to your breath, each in-breath and each out-breath. Moving from the fingertips back up to the elbows, to the shoulders, across the shoulders, to your neck. And just move your head slightly left to right, slowly left to right, left to right. Notice again where you're holding any tension, any clicking and clacking going on. Just notice. And circle the head slowly, clockwise, position, slowly turn the head. And then reverse the direction. Come to center. Notice your jaw. It's another place we hold tension. You know, often we don't realize we're clenching our teeth, holding our jaw tightly closed. Allow the jaw to slacken. So the lips will part slightly. Just allow the jaw to drop. And the same that we did with our fingernails, see if you can feel your teeth. Not using the tongue, just keep the tongue still and just feel your teeth. And notice if you need to swallow the saliva. Another interesting thing when we bring our awareness to our mouth, suddenly we get a nice load of saliva in the mouth. Bring your attention to your nose, to your nostrils. On the next in-breath, notice how it feels when the air enters the nostrils. Notice as the nostrils the inside of the nostrils contracts a little. Notice the temperature of the air as you breathe in. And as you breathe out through the nostrils, slight change in that temperature, slightly warmer. Now say hi, hello to your eyes. Move your eyeballs left to right, left to right. Exercising the eyes. And then roll the eyes to the right, to the left. You're really saying hello to your eyeballs. Stretching them out a little bit. And say hello to your ears. Bring your awareness to your ears. What are the sounds that are entering the ears right now? And now to the crown of your head. Notice the weight of this skull, this head. You know, the tendency when we notice to bring our attention is the tendency to want to lean forward. It's so heavy. And this thing that sits atop the spine. And of course, so many of us get tension headaches, some of us migraines. On the next in-breath, imagine the breath, the air going into the skull, bringing a lightness to the skull, the inner skull, wrapping itself around the brain. Again, it's a strange visualization, but imagine the breath going in, not only through to the lungs, but up into the skull. I do this when I get headache. Imagine the air making my brain softer, the skull lighter. If I really concentrate on bringing a lightness into the skull, I can often, very often, will see stars in the sky almost as though the top of my head was lifted off. That might be just my mind and the drugs I've done in my life, but it feels like I'm looking out at the stars from the top of my head. And I imagine there's a silk thread lifting the head, lifting the skull, taking the weight from the spine, just making the whole thing lighter. Kind of pulling you up slightly. And as the body is pulled up slightly, even if it's just in your imagination, can release the tension. And now for the next few minutes, just imagine as you breathe into all those spaces that need a little tension relief. Breathe into the knees, to the feet, to the back, the shoulders, to the jaw, to the fingers. Spend a couple of minutes breathing in to all the areas in your body that need some air, some lightness.